What's goody? Hey man, this is honestly, throughout the entirety of the NFL season, I never once contemplated about making this video. I never once saw the day where this video was coming. I never once saw that I would have to come on here and talk about what's next for the Rams after losing. I always was sitting here thinking about how am I going to talk about what's next for the Rams after we win the Super Bowl. And I want to start this off by saying this is not a video where I'm about to be raging, at least not at the Rams for the most part. This is not a video where I'm mad at the Rams or um, I'm not even necessarily mad at the outcome. It's more of a disappointment at the outcome. But I don't go back at this game and look at it with anger or look at it like we got robbed necessarily. There was two bad face masks that they missed, one on offense, one on defense, where it was where we had two times Matthew Stafford got his whole head turned around, and then one was on the defensive side where I don't remember who it was, but his helmet got pushed up. Those are two missed calls, whatever. I didn't like it the way that was handled at the end of the game. I just don't really understand how you can replay review that JSN, whether or not JSN's foot was out on one play, but then the very play before, one of the most pivotal plays of the game, you don't initiate a replay to see if that was a first down or to see if that was a catch. Y'all make Sean McVay waste the time out to see if he has to review it. And then after you do that, you say, oh, if you challenge it and you don't get it, you're still going to waste another timeout. So your last two timeouts that you have right now, they're both gone if you don't get this challenge. And the odds are he probably wasn't going to get that challenge because that's just kind of a tough one to overturn. I do believe it was a catch because I believe that him reaching, I believe they consider that, especially with the steps before it, a football move. But I do not believe he necessarily got the first down. But I also do think that because it was such a close call on the field, I don't really think Sean McVay would have won that challenge. So the decision to save that last time out, I liked it. I didn't really like when he ended up using it. But I mean, ultimately, the Rams got the ball back, got a chance at it. And while we only had 25 seconds with no timeouts and we could have used that timeout, that's not what I look back on as the biggest reason we lost this game. I look back on, and I do not know your name, I believe it was number 15 or 19. I believe it was, man, I don't remember my boy's number, but the muff punt. I look back at that and I say, among other things, that's what lost us this game. And obviously, you can never point back to one singular player or one singular play, but I think that right there hurts this game. Just one extra possession, I believe, wins us this game. One extra little bit of momentum, I believe, wins us this game because don't get me wrong, the way that the Los Angeles Rams responded to that was phenomenal. But for the Rams to go down that much coming out of the third quarter with their offense and not even touch the ball after two possessions to start the third quarter or whatever that was, that's just, I don't know if it was the very first two possessions of the third quarter. I think it was, but maybe it wasn't. But it was something like that. That was a pivotal point in the game, and I think that's the one thing where I look back on this game and I say if I had to pinpoint the one moment where I think the Seahawks really won this game or where really the Rams lost it, was that moment right there. And low-key, there was major foreshadowing to that event because he low-key like bobbled or muffed a punt earlier in the game, and I didn't think too much of it, but you could tell he was nervous about it. You could tell he was like heavy sigh afterwards, but I was like, that's normal. First one of the game, you're in a massive environment. That's a young player, I believe, and even if it's not, he's probably never been in that moment before. So it's just it was loud in there, it was loud as hell in there, and everything like that. But when it happened the second time, I'm looking at you and I'm like, bro, you called for the fair catch. No one touched you. All you literally did was you went like you were walking backwards and you looked like you fainted and the ball hit your shoulder and you were just, and I'm like, the thing that lost us this game is the thing that lost us games all season. It was special teams. And there were other things, right? Obviously, special teams isn't the reason that Sam Darnold threw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Special teams isn't the reason that Jackson Smith-Njigba went off for 10, 153 and a touchdown. It's not the reason that Kenneth Walker was breaking tackles left and right, even though he didn't have the most efficient day on the ground. He was breaking tackles left and right, and he was a big contributor in this game. The special teams isn't the reason that Rashid Shaheed caught the one deep ball in this game. Special teams isn't the reason that Cooper Kupp made pivotal play after pivotal play in this game. It's just not the truth. I do look at that play as the biggest thing, but I really do think that something that's going to go under talked about the Rams and especially about this game in general is how terrible the Rams defensive backs were and kind of have been. They haven't been necessarily terrible, but that has very clearly been the weakness of the defense, at least in my opinion. And I feel like some of the interceptions and stuff have kind of overlooked the fact that I think our DBs, for the most part, are not good at not that good. I believe Kobe Durant's our best DB, and he's not bad, but just like for him to be our best DB, and then we got Emmanuel Forbes out there trying to guard JSN, it's just not, it wasn't going to work. And I do believe we could have gotten past it, and I do believe that that isn't the biggest problem because, like I said, even if you take that one play back, that one muff pump back, we're not talking at all about the DBs. We're talking about how the Rams won this game in spite of Sam Darnold playing the game of his life, and we'll talk about Sam Darnold in a second. Ultimately, though, as a guy that's a Rams fan that was wearing a Rams jersey throughout this whole game, as a guy that will always have love for the Rams because I grew up in St. Louis, I don't look at this. I look at this as I'm disappointed because I was extremely confident we were going to win the Super Bowl. I felt like we had a phenomenal opportunity to win the Super Bowl, and I just felt like we were the best team, and I really felt like that for the majority of the season, but especially throughout the entirety of the playoffs. I felt like we were the best team, not because we beat Chicago's ass like that, or forgive me, Lord, not because we beat Chicago that bad or because we beat Carolina that bad, just because I felt like we always did the timely things to win, and then you always knew we had the potential to go off. We were going to score 30 no matter what. You knew that. So, I don't look at this game as me being upset at that or anything like that. I don't look at this game as that also because especially Blake Corum was effective on the ground. Kyron Williams wasn't too bad on the ground, but he did have some plays in the passing game. Matthew Stafford goes for 374 yards and 3 touchdowns against what is maybe the best defense in football. Puka Nacua goes off in this game. Devontae Adams makes multiple big plays. Kobe Parkinson, while he did have the one drop, you do have to remember that he made some big plays in this game, and that is another play that you want to have back when you look at it. But for Kobe Parkinson to come out here and have 3 for 62 and be your third leading receiver, I get the one drop is bad, but that's, again, not the reason you lost this game. So I'm not personally looking at that Kobe Parkinson thing like, damn, you catch that ball and we win the game. Like, maybe, but I think there are other bigger reasons why we lost this game. I don't know where the Rams go from here. I don't know what happens with Matthew Stafford after this. I don't know what's up with McVay. I know McVay is always talking sneakily about retiring or whatever. I don't think he's actually going to do that or anything like that. But this was a sad one. This was a disappointing one. I'm personally proud of the Rams in this one. I'm proud of the Rams season. I think what they did this season was extremely impressive. And I know that you might look at it and be like, well, damn, they were only the 5 seed, blah, 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 blah. But I think their postseason run was very good for them to go out onto the road and win 2 games in 2 very hostile, very tough crowds, very tough environments. To play very tough in a division like the NFC West, to be a 2-point conversion away from winning that division, and then a muffed punt away from winning the NFC Championship and going to the Super Bowl. I mean, I can't look at this season with any type of disappointment. I mean, with any type of anger. I look at it more as like it was a phenomenal one, but it was a disappointing end. For the Seahawks, man, Sam Darnold. This is one of the greatest comeback stories in sports history. What Sam Darnold has done over these last 2 seasons has been phenomenal. For him to win, I think it was 15 games or whatever he won, 14 games with the Minnesota Vikings last year, and then for them to let him go in favor of J.J. McCarthy, for him to come to the Seattle Seahawks, who everybody thought Geno Smith was better, and they were getting in a guy who was solid, but the guy they were losing was better. For him to come in and win 14 games and now be on the way to the be on the way to the Super Bowl. He just played the best game of his career in the biggest game of his career, and there was always questions of, will Sam Darnold be able to do it in the biggest moments? And I was a guy that was like, Matthew Stafford's not losing to Sam Darnold in the biggest moment of the game. The Rams are going to win because of Sam Darnold, and because Sam Darnold won't be able to deliver. And while there was moments in this game like that throw to Rashid Shaheed late where he airmailed it and the ball got there late and we were able to make an incomplete pass, you got to look at this game from Sam Darnold and say it was nothing short of amazing. It was nothing short of phenomenal the way that he's performed. I believe Clint Kubiak is their offensive. Let me look. My homie texted. My homie texted the name of the offensive coordinator. Saints legend Clint Kubiak. Yeah, that guy needs to be a head coach somewhere. I think he coached a phenomenal game here. Like I said, I don't know where the Rams go from here to the Seahawks. I think you have a phenomenal chance to go out there and win the Super Bowl. I don't really know which team to root for because I don't like the Patriots. They beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, and I just don't like the Patriots. I'm a Drake May fan, but I just don't like the Patriots. Also, Matthew Stafford for MVP, so obviously I don't want to root for the guy who's going against him in the MVP race. But then on the other hand, I don't want to root for the team that is in our division and beat us twice this year. I don't really want to root for them either. So this might be one of those games where I'm just sitting back looking as a spectator, trying to enjoy some hopefully good football. Was a great game from the Rams today. I don't really have anything to say about Broncos-Patriots because I didn't watch it, because I didn't even expect it to be as close of a game as it was. But to be honest with you, even if it was a close game, I was out there. I had to shovel 15 inches of snow right before that game because I wanted to get that done before the Rams game started. And it was still snowing and windy and cold while I was doing that. So I came inside, gang, and I took a nap during that entirety of that game, and I woke up right before the Rams game started. Shout out to my fiance for waking me up, and that was it. So I'm telling you right now, I can't say anything about the game because I didn't watch it, so don't ask. I don't know. I saw the Christian Gonzalez pick. I don't know anything else. I love it. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching as always. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what y'all thought about today's games. Give me some insight about that Broncos game. Tell me what you're thinking about the Seahawks-Patriots matchup. I didn't watch the Patriots game today, but I have watched a considerable amount of the Patriots throughout this season, like a considerable amount. I feel like every single week they were one of those teams that I had in a quad box every week watching them. Mostly because a lot of the time I was trying to see if they were real or not. But also because I like Drake May. I think he's pretty good, and I don't, Stephon Diggs is a good football player, and they got some guys on defense who I like also as football players. Milton Williams I'm a big fan of. That matchup, I think the Seahawks got it probably. I just think their offense is a little too powerful, a little too explosive. And I also just think their roster from top to bottom is just so talented. I think their coaching is phenomenal, and I do believe the same thing about on the other side, but I think the one thing that gives them the bigger advantage when it comes to coaching is that they have three guys, like a head coach and then two coordinators Mac McDonald's calling the defensive plays, so I don't even really know who their defensive coordinator is. But they have a head coach and an offensive coordinator that's phenomenal, whereas we look at the Patriots and I'm like, they have a phenomenal head coach, and the other guys are good. But that's what I think really gives them another advantage. But also, I think the Seahawks roster is just more talented. I think the Seahawks have been more battle-tested both throughout the season and throughout the playoff run. Give me the Seahawks in that matchup. And then we'll talk more about it throughout the week, actually, because I don't want to say give me the Seahawks quite yet, because injuries and stuff happen. We might have a thing where Sam Darnold comes out throughout the week and that oblique injury is worse, God forbid, or something like that. So I'm not going to make my pick yet. But what I'll say is, as things speak right now, I am leaning Seahawks, all right? I love that. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching as always. Please don't forget to keep God first. My fiance is texting me to let the dog out, so peace. I love y'all.